One of the biggest questions we get asked here at T.REX ARMS is how to holster a suppressed pistol, and if we would consider building a holster for suppressors. There's obviously a couple challenges that are immediately presented when you start running a suppressed pistol. The first is overall length. Now I have a much longer handgun, so if I'm running a traditional holster like a Ragnarok or something, and for whatever reason it can fit a suppressor, I can't start presenting the pistol until I've cleared that holster. And if that holster is on belt line, obviously now it's going to be much taller. If it's on a thigh rig, okay, now I'm a little bit lower. Second issue is most suppressors out there are wider than the slide of the gun itself. So right there, most holsters aren't going to work anyway. You have to have something that is much more modified. So there's a lot of factors going in that affect how you can make a suppressor holster. Another big thing that we've seen, there's a few other holsters on the market that will fit suppressors, but a lot of them require different kinds of draws, tipping the pistol forward or deactivating some sort of hood system, or you do have to draw it all the way up before you can start presenting. So that creates training issues because now that's very different than a normal open top holster like a Safariland ALS, like our Ragnarok, like some passive retention holsters on the market, competition holsters, things like that. So when guys are switching between a normal holster and now their weird suppressor holster, they have training inconsistencies, and I think that's a big problem. I prefer having systems that are consistent with each other so my training doesn't have to change dramatically. So what did we come up with? We came up with the Ragnarok SD. The Ragnarok SD is essentially a highly modified version of our standard Ragnarok holster. It's made out of 125 Kydex. It features our very modular hole pattern on the back, so you can run Safariland, Blade Tech, G-Code, and other attachments on the back of the holsters. There's still some room back here so you can set up whatever you need. My favorite is obviously the QLS system. What we've got going on is this is a light compatible only holster, and currently we're building them for the Surefire X300 Ultra. It will also fit the X300V, the Vampire version, which has IR and white light capability, which is probably my favorite for doing any sort of night vision type stuff, which is probably what you're going to be doing with a suppressed pistol anyway. So what you have is you have 4 retention screws, so you can tighten down the retention and get it as tight or as loose as you want. You can get it pretty tight so the pistol doesn't even come out. Obviously you wouldn't want it to be that tight, but if you really needed to get it tight, that's about how tight you can get it. The interesting thing going on with this holster you see here in the front is you got these little ears that are bent out. So when we ship these holsters, it is straight Kydex, just like this, all the way out. And basically what you do is you tailor this holster to your pistol and your suppressor. If these don't exist, essentially what happens with this type of holster is the entire gun can then tip out. But with these right here, shaped around the suppressor, it gives more stability to the holster, more retention essentially, so your pistol can't just fly out like this out the front. And that's something I haven't seen any other company really do, and it's something that we played with, and it's something that works really well. So basically what you have to do is you have to tailor this holster to your particular gun and your particular suppressor. And what happens is, since this holster is made for Glocks, and it works very well for Glocks, it will also fit other pistols. It'll fit something like a SIG 320, or even a Beretta M9. But the height between the trigger guard and the slide and where the barrel is, and then where you add the suppressor, will be a different height than a Glock that's suppressed. So the modification will be a little bit different. So if you're running a bunch of different kinds of suppressed pistols, you may have to buy different holsters. Or maybe they will all work depending on what it is. Or if you're running a fatter suppressor like an Osprey or a 45. What I have right here are is a Gemtech 9 Tundra and a Surefire Rider 9. They're both basically the same diameter. I pretty much only run them on Glocks, so I can run them all in the same holsters that I've modified for that particular setup. So basically when you get the holster, you'll have it on whatever attachment that you want. You'll bend these ears with a hair dryer. We'll have another video showing you how to do that to then fit with your holster, so you kind of tune it to what you need. You tune the screws, and you're ready to go. got my Orion belt on. I'm gonna show you guys how this works. I've got my Ranger Green Ragnarok SD with a Safariland fork, and then I have a Safariland receiver on a UBL mid-ride and a thigh strap to help stabilize it. It goes on, locks in place. I then have my Glock 17 with a loophole delta point Surefire rider in the short configuration. Just make it a little bit more compact. If I ran a 19, it would then be even shorter. X300, good to go. Good retention. My draw is the same as if I'm running a normal Ragnarok. It's still straight up and down. Present the pistol. There it is. Holster. Just like that. I'm not having to do anything weird. Not having to change anything. It's the exact same draw process as if I'm using a normal holster, an ALS, a Ragnarok, or something else. So now, let's go ahead and show you guys how this runs. With a timer, some time drills. Let's see what happens. So now I've got my Glock 19 with Trijicon suppressor sights, no optic, Gemtech 9, X300. Let's do this. Woohoo! Yeah. Good times, good times. So now I'll integrate a carbine, show you guys what that looks like transitioning to a pistol, then transitioning back, re-indexing the pistol into the holster, trying to go fast. I'll walk you guys through this going slow. So carbine comes up, I take that shot, I feel bolt lock, safety, transition, strong hand goes down to the pistol, come up, then go back to the carbine, assess the bolt lock, pistol goes back to the holster, basically going weapon light is going to hit the holster first, then I drive it down, magazine, load, and back up. Now see what it looks like full speed.